Are you looking to make your first step into the Go programming language? Do you need to get the tools installed and get to a working Hello World program? In this video, we'll start with a fresh installation of Windows and we'll install the Go Toolkit, VS Code, and the VS Code plugin for Go into it. Then we'll build the most trivial Hello World program to make sure everything's behaving as it should and illustrate the Go commands for building and running a program. This is Windows Server 2022 Base. It's running in AWS. Now, because the installations will load things from the internet, it's a good idea to set up the firewall so we don't get silently blocked with no indication of what's wrong. I'm actually running as administrator, perhaps not the smartest approach. I rather hope you're not. That seems to get past this problem, but this has caused me trouble with other installations in the past, so we'll do it anyway. We can simply change the notification settings so we'll be prompted if some program tries to exceed the permissions and goes to fetch something. Next, we'll fetch the Go download. Navigate to go.dev/dl and pick the installation media for your target platform. In this case, of course, I want the Windows MSI file. Once the download completes, open it, accept the license and the default installation location, well, unless you have a reason to change it, and start the installation. After that completes, we'll fetch the core VS Code tool. A quick search finds this for us at code.visualstudio.com/download. Notice there's a user installer and a system installer. I'm running as administrator, so the system installer is appropriate. If you're running as a regular user, you should pick the user installer, and that's when you're likely to need the firewall to prompt you as well. If you pick the user installer when running as administrator, I recall it issues some kind of warning, but as I remember, it basically works if you go ahead anyway. But it's more sensible to pick the appropriate one, lest that warning have some significance that I missed. And I should say, I'm not really a Windows user, so that significance would likely have been lost on me. Pick the right hardware platform. This one was created as an Intel 64-bit, not an ARM system, so I go with x64. This should start the download and also takes you to the Getting Started page. You might like to browse it if your download takes more than a few seconds. As before, open the file. Accept the license and default location and a folder name for the Start menu. Create a desktop icon if you like. Go ahead with the install. When that completes, I've selected the option to start the program. When it starts, it invites some initial configuration. I prefer a light background. Obviously, choose whatever works best for you. Next, we need to get the Go plugin installed. Select Rich Support for all your languages and click the Browse Language Extensions button. There are many languages with support, some of which are produced by Microsoft itself and many others by third parties. I'm only interested in Go for this video, so I type this in the search box and you'll see that the very first entry is Rich Go Language Support, and it was created by the Go team at Google, so it should be good. Click Install on that and it completes in just a moment. I'll close the tab, which leads us back to VS Code's Get Started page. There are many more options for configuration. You can browse them at your leisure, but what we have configured now is good enough for our purposes here. I'll close the Welcome tab and also close the Extensions tab by clicking this icon with the squares here on the left. Now we can build our trivial Hello World program. First, we'll need a working directory. I should note that I'm cheating a little bit here. A real Go project would be modular. But I'm going to skip that in this video and put everything is just one file in this example, into a single directory. Click on this icon of 2 pages near the top left. This brings up the Explorer, which invites us to open a folder. Of course, right now we don't have a folder, but from the selection dialog we can create a new one. I'll make this one and call it Go Experiments, and then select it. Now, I trust myself and nobody else will use this machine, so I'm going to indicate that everything here should be trusted. Next, we can finally create the Go source file. In this case, I've selected New File from the Welcome page, but if I were to hover over the name Go Experiments in the Explorer, I'd be offered a shortcut there too. You can also do it from the File menu. The file here will be called hello.go. Perhaps oddly, this particular shortcut still brings up the file creation dialog, but it pre-populates it with the name I just typed, although notice that it's hidden the .go extension. That's okay, it'll still be there when the file's created. Because this is the first Go source file I've created since installing this tool, the plugin fetches a couple of other standard Go tools that it wants. Notice the tab indicates the plugin version. Evidently they're still treating this as an alpha release, but it seems to work pretty well. The tool downloading operation is noted here. I'm going to close this tab, the Welcome tab, and also the Explorer to maximize the size of the editor. Now let's write the code. First comes the package statement. Go organizes its source files into modules and into packages, with packages being the smaller unit of organization. The entry point to a program must be in a package called main. Next, we'll be printing a message to the console, and that feature is provided from a package called FMT, which is part of the standard library. To use this, we must import the package. Now, often we'll want multiple packages, but I'm skipping that in this video too. Notice that our own package name is not in quotes, but the names provided to imports are quoted. Now we define the function that will be the entry point to the program. And following the long tradition of curly brace languages like C and C++, this entry point is called main. When I type func, the Go plugin fills out an empty parameter list and the empty curly braces for the function body. The main function of a Go program doesn't take any arguments, nor does it have any return type, so this is actually sufficient for our function's skeleton. And all we need to do now is print our message. We'll do that by invoking the println function in the context of the FMT package, and we'll provide our message in double quotes as a parameter. Notice that println starts with a capital first letter. Elements of a package in Go that are meant to be accessible outside of that package must have a capital first letter. That's actual syntax, not just some convention. Now our code is complete. Ctrl+S will save it. To build and run this, I'll use the terminal. I click on this tab header and the terminal comes up. The commands I'm going to use are standard Go, not part of VS Code. Of course, you can use VS Code to do this, but this approach works with code written in other editors, so it seems likely to be more useful. First, go run hello.go will run the program directly. This actually took quite a while on this minimally specified virtual machine, and I cut that time out. Anyway, the output I think is exactly what you'd expect. Notice that at this point there's just one file in this working directory. Now if I execute the command go build hello.go, I get a platform-specific binary created. Again, I've cut out a non-trivial pause here. As a result, I get a hello.exe file. And if I run that, it behaves the same as the go run command did, but it started quite a lot faster as it's already compiled and linked. Okay, there you go. A simple installation of Go and the VS Code IDE and a trivial Hello World program in the Go programming language. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and even better, leave a comment. Perhaps suggest some topics for future videos. Cheers.